What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, we got the release date for the new update, and we have all the abilities of the new frame Kullervo. So, we'll be going over that stuff today. And yeah, I'm not really looking forward to his abilities the most after reading them, but at least they look better than on the dev stream original showing. If you enjoy these types of Warframe videos, we do daily Warframe video uploads. We'll also be live on stream, probably like an hour after this video goes up. Just gonna go buy some groceries because that update's coming out pretty soon. I want to make sure I got the house stocked up with some food. All right, so let's get into it. Appreciate all the support as always, guys. All right, so 7 Crimes of Calervo is going to be released on June 21st, Wednesday, June 21st. And we're also going to go over Calervo's abilities here. So let's start off right now with their hype set they posted. I'll put a link of this in the description if you want to check it out yourself. All right, so here's a picture of Calervo. Reminder: if you want to get this frame, you're gonna have to either buy him for plat, or this area he's in right now, it's called the Calervo's Jail. This will be a new area with a Calervo mini boss fight. And all the boss farming guide out the day of. I already got a good strategy to knock him out instantly, but yeah, it will be drifter combat. See these doors behind him? There's going to be multiple different Calervos you fight. So just because you kill one Calervo doesn't mean the fight's over. You have to fight Calervo 1, Calervo 2. It might be called the 7 Health Gates of Calervo, with how long the boss fight might take. We'll have to find out. The update's actually called the 7 Crimes of Calervo. But yeah, there might be a lot of fighting with the operator, by the way, drifter combat. On June 21st, you're invited to return to the mind-bending stage of Deviri for the next act in the Deviri Paradox. Prepare to uncover the 7 Crimes of Calervo. It's no longer called Echoes of Deviri. Alright, so here's your new Warframe Calervo. Deep within the confines of a sprawling island dungeon, the tragic Warframe Calervo awaits your redemption. Explore the prison cells to learn of his misdeeds and wield the power of the treacherous through his trademark daggers and thirst for vengeance. He's got a signature special helmet, the Calervo Usfa helmet, and the Alto Cyandana, and also melee proficiency has a special heavy blade skin. Okay, so heavy blade skin and melees in general are what you're going to be wanting to think about with this guy, at least an initial impression. I'm going to go over some potential builds and synergies that we can do for these abilities, but let's just first read off what they do first. Okay, so we got the passive, and we got the 4 main abilities here. Alright, starting with the passive. The passive is called Whispers of Vane. Calervo has increased heavy attack efficiency and heavy attack wind-up speed on all melee weapons. Now keep in mind, that should work on glaive throws. So, right off the bat, his passive is only working on melees and heavy attack aspects of melees. So, for example, if you don't know what heavy attack efficiency is, let's say I had 200 hits of combo and I did a heavy attack. If I had no heavy attack efficiency on the build, I would lose all of those 200 hits of combo. But let's say I had some kind of heavy attack efficiency on there. Let's say I had 60% efficiency. I would not lose 60% of my combo if I had this mod on my build and did the same exact thing. I would go from the 200 hits I lost to losing like 100 of them. So that's what his passive is going to do. You're going to be able to have a full build with no combat, no heavy attack efficiency, and probably no heavy attack wind-up speed. We'll see how much he actually gets. Of course, these numbers are not on here. Putting this in perspective, the frame Varuna has a heavy attack efficiency passive. Hers gives 90%. So the fact that hers is so extremely strong in high numbers, that means Calervo's passive has to be like insano numbers. I'm trying to remember which one gives her heavy attack efficiency. Okay, it's her 3rd ability. Lycast Hunt special passive for Varuna is heavy attack efficiency. So already he's being compared to the newest frames, Varuna and Citrine. So when we look at his kit, and his kit is not as overloaded as Varuna and Citrine, that's why I'm kind of saying he might not be as good as the stuff we're used to recently, unfortunately, okay? Hate to be a damper on the first ability, but I'm just putting his perspective here. Varuna has like 4 times the passive he does. Alright, moving on. So first, his passive is just for melees. Wind-up speed and heavy attack efficiency. We need to see the numbers, but yeah, the heavy attack efficiency has to be 90. And the wind-up speed has to be a very high number as well, because it's very, very specific on what this does, personally, in my opinion. Alright, first actual ability. Now keep in mind, we don't know which of these will be the Helminth, but for his first ability, it's called Wrathful Advance. It has 2 forms. You can either tap the ability or hold the ability. The tap version, Calervo charges a heavy attack, then teleports to his target and strikes. His rage-filled focus temporarily increases his crit chance. So the way I read this is when you push the button, it starts a heavy attack immediately. And when you target an enemy with it, he will teleport to the enemy and expend the heavy attack on that enemy. So think of it like Ash's teleport attack. Do I have that ability still sitting around? It's called, well, it's not called Fatal Teleport. It's actually just, I think it's called like Teleport. There we go. So Teleport right here. It's like the teleport ability of Ash. You target an enemy, but instead of like doing a finisher, it will do a heavy attack. And then after you do the heavy attack, the way it was worded, it sounds like you'll have increased melee crit chance for melees, obviously, after that. So, I know, here's what I think. So, Ash's teleport teleports him behind the enemy. I think this will just teleport you in front of the enemy. But, yeah, it actually has an additional function, too. If you hold the ability, teleport to any marked location. So, that is something that Ash cannot do right now. Ash requires a target to teleport to for his teleport. So, Kullervo's teleport seems to require... Well, rather, the hold version requires no target, but if you want to use a target for it, it's going to force you to a heavy attack. So, it's both more flexible and less flexible in certain ways, but I'd say it's a lot more flexible because of the whole no target required for teleport. This will be a frame that you're probably going to want a lot of range on. And depending on how good his damage numbers are, he might not even need strength either. So, let's keep going over it. So far, not the most exciting abilities. We only go over the first one. So the second ability is called Recompense. And that's actually how you say that. I looked it up. I almost said Recompense. I didn't even know what to say. Recompense is how you say this. Recompense is Kullervo's second ability. So this one's actually got a lot going for it. Kullervo surrounds himself with daggers. Each dagger that strikes an enemy restores his health. But each dagger that misses an enemy will hit Kullervo, dealing some damage to Calervo. So when you miss the dagger, you will take damage from your own dagger. When Calervo has maximum health, he receives overguard from struck enemies. So there's a lot to go over here. There's a lot to go over with this ability, Recompense. So, the way I'm looking at this, I'm thinking of it going to be similar to Zaku's Void Guns. If you've ever played Zaku or seen Zaku before, Zaku's second ability, I have no idea what it's called, Grasp of Loke. You grab the enemy's guns, and the guns fly around you and shoot. I'm thinking the daggers will be flying around you, and will think of it kind of like Desolate Hands like Baruch. A mixture of Grasp of Loke and Desolate Hands from Baruch. The daggers will hang out around you, and then if an enemy gets nearby, they will hit the enemy. I'm not sure how the whole missing daggers thing's going to work. I am actually wondering about that. But here's the thing. There's actually a lot of synergies you could go for with that whole self-damage aspect. A lot of builds, well, not a lot, some builds will use the mod Combat Discipline, which is when you get a kill. Let's see if I've built. Here we go. So one of my Garuda builds will be very similar to what I think you'll be thinking about on Calervo. So this kind of situation. Whenever you get a kill, you take 10 damage. This 10 damage can trigger arcanes, such as Arcane Agility, Arcane Avenger. Basically just search the word damaged, and it will trigger all these arcanes. So Arcane on shield damage, Arcane Aegis, Arcane Barrier on shield damage, Arcane Grace on health damage, and Guardian, so on and so forth. So he will be able to get easy parkour velocity, easy crit chance, or any of this other stuff if you miss some daggers. And you will not need to run Combat Discipline. Now, speaking of, since we're on Garuda, I was actually doing a mock-up Calervo build the other day. I think Calervo will really like a lot of strength, and he's also going to like, he's going to need a lot of range. He might not need as much strength. But let's go over the rest of the abilities before we really talk about this build. Alright, so he can get Overguard when he kills an enemy when he has full health. So making sure you have full health all the time could be good. He has no built-in source of health regen. Just hitting an enemy will heal him. So if you don't know what Overguard is, Overguard will prevent status effects and will be like basically an extra armor bar above your health bar. It's something I recommended in the game years ago, and they finally have been adding it. I think Overguard is how they're going to rework Anaros in the future too. So let's hope these numbers are good. It's an interesting sounding ability, and let's also hope the daggers do good damage. Each dagger that strikes an enemy will restore health. It better also kill that enemy too. So, interesting one. I doubt it will be his helmet, but maybe. Overguard is an interesting thing to receive. And then the third ability of Calervo, another ability that's going to be very similar to a helmet ability, it's called Collective Curse. Calervo will send forth a curse that binds an enemy. Well, binds enemies. When a cursed enemy takes damage, each other cursed enemy also suffers a portion of the damage. So is like a shared curse ability. I'm trying to think of what would be a good comparison for it. if you ever played like a MOBA game before, like an ability that links all the enemies' health bars together. Like if you ever tried, if you ever played Dota, I think it's called Fatal Bond for the Warlock. Probably a really out-of-date reference, but you cast your ability on one dude, and then the dudes around there will take like 50% of the damage. We don't know the numbers yet. If the Curse of Kullervo, or whatever this is called, is affected by strength, maybe it can be up to 100%, and you'll be able to have like AoE heavy attacks. So if you look at what we're dealing with so far, with ability 1, 2, and 3, and technically as passive, we already have a playstyle going here. So we're going to mark an enemy with Collective Curse. We're going to use Wrathful Advance to teleport in and heavy attack that enemy. Hopefully it will do enough damage to kill everything in the area. You'll have area of effect, likely red crit, high efficiency, fast, heavy attacks that are AoE technically. Recompense is going to make you more tanky, and also will maybe trigger some of your arcanes that you're not having triggered all the time. You might notice this guy is definitely lacking in the crowd control department. But let's go over the last ability, his ulti, Storm of Ukko. Yes, Ukko is actually referenced in this ability. Let's hope this ability doesn't end up being Storm of Sucko, because the description of this is not looking too amazing. So, Storm of Ukko. The Void answers Calervo's invocation with a storm of daggers that rain down upon his enemies. So, if you watch their original dev stream, let's just hope it's not going to be the underwhelming thing they showed on the dev stream. Like really tiny daggers raining down in a small area, and didn't look like it was doing much damage. So all we have to go off of is a damage skill, and it's a rain of daggers. So I'm really hoping this scales with strength, range, all that stuff, and I hope it has some special effects too. If I'm just getting a flat damage nuke, that's not enough for Warframe in 2023. It's just not. Like, most things in this game now that are nukes have other things tied to them as well. Let's look at one of the, let's see, what's one of the more recent nuke frames that we've gotten? We don't really get many nuke frames nowadays, but let's just look at, let's just look at Thermal Sunder, one of the best nuke abilities in the game. Okay, so if Calervo's ulti is not going to do overwhelmingly crazy high numbers, look at what his normal nuke skill that's actually available on Helminth can do. So I can either choose between cold damage or heat damage. This also removes enemy armor, too, and it can freeze them when you're playing Gauss. It also leaves a damage over time on the ground. So, we need to have a Calervo ulti that does like 5 times the damage of this, has good damage types, and maybe does other stuff, too, and is modeled by range. So, as far as Calervo and what the builds are going to be, going off of this, we don't really know what numbers scale off of what right now, but I'm not seeing too much I need power strength for right now. Maybe Collective Curse is going to require some power strength, but I'm really thinking a build like this one I'm showing you right now on Garuda could be a step in the right direction. Now, maybe go for more range, actually. We're at 235 range. You could actually fit on 265 range, depending on how much energy he has. And he might not need duration either. We could maybe take off Prime Continuity for a little bit more duration in that slot, or with more flow. Because I don't see any reason he's going to really need duration. Look at these abilities. Like, Collective Curse is not going to need duration, likely. You mark the guy, you shoot the guy, everyone should be dead around there, and you can move on to the next group of enemies. I think range will be good for teleport distances. Range will be good for Collective Curse radius. I'm trying to remember if Recompense uses range at all. Maybe range will be good on Recompense to hit enemies with daggers from farther away. And I'm honestly expecting to take off his 4th ability with Helminth for Nourish. And the reason I'm saying Nourish is because, remember, Recompense, when it misses the enemy, it will deal damage to you, which is probably going to be a bad thing. It will potentially break your shield gate. If the amount of self-damage scales with power strength, you could easily break your own shield gate with Calervo and just die instantly. That's where Overguard will hopefully help. So, since we can damage ourselves with our daggers, Nourish has a viral AoE when you take damage. So, for this build, it's 485 damage in a, how big is the AoE? A 31-meter explosion radius. So, not only will the enemies we have marked with Collective Curse be taking viral procs, we'll be dealing extra viral damage, too. With this not high amount of power strength, we have 145% increased viral damage. So, I'm thinking of a build just like this. Instead of having the 2nd ability replaced, have the 4th ability replaced on Calervo. That can be a way you can do it. Not to mention, on a lot of heavy attack melees. So, for example, the one we're just looking at, that's not a full heavy attack build. Let's look at the hate. I have more of a heavy attack hybrid build on this. So I have no elementals on here. If you were to put on Grace, or rather, if you were to put on Nourish, you would make this slash build a viral slash build, and the hate Incarnon has built-in heat damage, so it would be a viral heat slash heavy attack. So it would be really good. So that would be nice. You also don't need to go as high as strength. Depending on what Kullervo's numbers will actually scale with, you might want to throw on some casting speed somewhere in here. Like, we're definitely overkill on range right now. You can throw on, like natural talent. You can throw on some Archon shards. We will see. It's unfortunate he really is, like, it seems like a melee frame through and through, because melee is definitely more of a 2018 playstyle, 2019, 2018 playstyle, than a 2023 playstyle with these power corrupt galvanized guns we got nowadays. So, either way, guys, hope you found this video fun and helpful. The update will come out on Tuesday. I will 100% be live farming out Calervo. I'm going to have my patch note video the day of as well. For this patch note video, I will be reviewing the patch notes very thoroughly. We're going to go over all those bug fixes because, as far as I'm concerned, Echoes of Calervo, or 7 Crimes of Calervo, is going to be a big bug fix focused update. And the extra features like the Calervo shotgun and all that, that's just gravy on top because the game is so buggy and we need these fixes. Alright guys, I'll see you very soon on stream. Appreciate all the support and take it easy. Peace!